Your face is very familiar, by the way.
I don't recall the pleasure of having met you, but you may eventually recognize my voice. I'm sometimes known as Mike from Western.
Sure.
Can't hear you.
The anticipation of your voice. Whatever the hell that is.
My name is Mike Corliss, and I've been a Libertarian for some time. Was a candidate last time for the very first time in my district, ran against Linda Hart and got Trump. But in any case, I'd like to sort of take a moment and see if I can wrap up a few things. I would, again, love to, Tim knows I'm just like Tim, that I could talk for half an hour on every one of those issues. But if I can hit all of them briefly.
Sure.
The point that Keith made is so perfect, because if you look at the Republican Party, look at the Democratic Party, look at the Socialist Party, even the Communist, there is no party that is internally consistent on all issues, except for the Libertarians. You talk to a Libertarian, and he will go back to his original default, which is, where do I get freedom and choice out of this? And from there, we will go to answer the question. So what we hope to do as Libertarians is we do wish to have some political success, because that gets us out there, we gets our ideas out there, gets them heard and talked about. We need the Cato Institute, the Mackinac Center, etc., to spread those ideas from other directions. But what we want, as much as anything else, is we want people to say it's a choice between this libertarian idea and that libertarian idea. For example, Eugene Debs was the perennial socialist candidate. Ran and ran and ran and ran, never got anywhere.
Including from jail.
Stopped running. Didn't die first, the way Stassen did. Stopped running, and when asked why he stopped running, he said, I don't need to run anymore. Both the Democrats and the Republicans have adopted every blank of my original platform. That's what we want. We want the Republicans and the Democrats arguing over who's the more libertarian. We agree with the Democrats. Personal freedom. I don't want cops looking in my bedroom window, and I don't want them looking in your window either. We agree in economic freedom with a few vestiges of the Republican Party. Stay out of my pocket. I know how to spend my money. I don't need to send half of the money I make to government, which, by the way, is the figure. I heard 40 on the radio the other day. It's inaccurate. If anybody wants to ask me, I'll explain to you. It's 50. 50% of what you make goes to government. I got to shut up pretty soon. Anyway, serfdom was a system which was very oppressive that existed in the feudal times. Serfs were oppressed because they were required to give the Lord 10 to 15% of what they produced. We have to give 50. How did we get here? Serfdom is a terrible thing because you got to give about 15%, but 50 is okay? How did that happen? So,
we get to vote.
And I get to vote money out of your pocket, and I get to vote freedom out of yours. So that's where it all happens. And what we want people to do is come to understand how the Libertarians help them. The government gives out goodies. We'll give out goodies. It's called a tax cut. The money's in your pocket. Now your wife doesn't have to work just to pay the taxes. That's how we influence the debate. The businessman wants to know how he's going to be affected. Hey, how many regulations does it take to open a business? In New York City, there are 100 forms you have to fill out to start a business. 100! It can't be done. 2 years is the usual startup to start on your own, and that's if you want to braid hair in your house. And after you've filled out all the money and spent about $40,000 getting started, somebody, city council member will come along and say, sorry, I don't like it. And then you can't. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to influence the debate so that the Republicans and the Democrats are fighting over us. That's what we want to do.
Very good.
I went on for much too long. Thank you,
Sisters in Arizona and three major universities have come up with, I'm going to read them all here. Economics 101, this 101, it's their list of what they classify. And of course, they have the donkey and elephant attached to the middle. And so our circle of friends refer to the two-party system as the Democrats and the Republicans.
Right. The man in the rear, sir.
My name is Les Ostrander. I'm a newcomer to this Libertarian meeting. I guess I should say I'm here primarily because of my utter disgust with both of the Democrat and Republican Party. And I'd like to speak a little bit about the issue of the trial lawyers.
By all means, I was hoping someone would take that.
I certainly join in the general contempt for them.
And yet you recognize they loom large in that hypothetical, freer world of the future, don't they?
Well,
maybe I'm misreading it. Maybe I'm wrong.
The law and its representatives, the trial lawyers, are very important in our system of justice. But I think the primary problem is with our system. The defense lawyer is permitted to use any and every, I could almost say, illegal means to try to produce some doubt in the mind of the jury. In Britain, they have a system where they generally try to find the truth. In the United States, we don't really concern ourselves with the truth of the issue. We ignore the truth in many cases where evidence is found, but by some quirk of the law, it's determined it's inadmissible. Things of this sort. We know we're not dealing with the truth in many cases. But one of the other main issues with the justice system is jury selection. Primarily, the defense attorneys are permitted to select the members that they want to end up sitting on the jury. They have a number of challenges.
Can you speak up a little louder, sir?
Okay, generally they tend to dismiss anyone who shows any sense of intelligence and any possible ability to think independently. We end up as a result of this with juries that are followers like sheep. The defense attorney, if he's skillful enough, can persuade them to follow anything, such as well, let's see, giving General Motors or giving a victim of a General Motors crash $2.5 billion or some foolish thing when the problem was that a drunken driver hit the very...
At a 70-mile-an-hour impact.
At 70 miles an hour.
Yeah.
So I think...
Never mind, GM ought to fork over $5 billion for that.
I don't think we can blame the individuals so much. They're opportunists at taking advantage of the system. But the system itself is defective.
Would you change the system, for example, to the European examining magistrate system, where it is, as you say, and you're absolutely right, as I understand it, a search for truth as opposed to an adversarial combat between defense and plaintiff's lawyers? I mean, is that
well,
possible to imagine?
Certainly that's, I'm not a legal authority, so I would...
I can't imagine that happening. I
simply
mean, within
that we should strive more to find the truth.
Arbitration.
And we should not allow, I don't think we should allow any of the trial lawyers to dismiss jurors. We should take 12 people and put them on the jury, and that's it.
Right.
How about arbitration?
I've got to speak. My name is Ed Layback,
I
and I'm one of the local representatives here. I'm one of these villainous trial lawyers.
And a brave man, too.
And I'd like to defend our system because I think it's the best system. It's not maybe the best, the greatest in the world, but it's the best system in the world. And that's with the jury system. But as a libertarian, our goal is to see the restoration of the Constitution, and more importantly, the restoration of the Bill of Rights, which have been eroded to the point where we no longer have a Fourth Amendment, we no longer have a Fifth Amendment, and we're getting to the point where we're getting rid of the Sixth and now the 10th Amendment.
And the ninth.
And the second.
And now even with the first. With the
You can't quarter people in your house. That's the only one.
so that's really the goal as far as I'm concerned, is to see the restoration of the Bill of Rights.